Step back into the early part of the 1960s, a time when compact American cars were gaining popularity. With this very original and remarkably well-preserved 1963 Ford Falcon, a car that can honestly be called a true survivor of its era, now being offered for sale at the asking price of just $5,500, and currently located in the town of Pottstown in the state of Pennsylvania. The Falcon, as many enthusiasts know, has always carried a special charm that sets it apart from other vehicles of the time. And this particular example continues to hold on to a large portion of that authentic vintage character that makes cars like this appealing to collectors and hobbyists. The seller clearly states that the car runs and drives, which makes it a solid candidate for someone who is in search of an entry-level classic car. Something affordable that can be enjoyed immediately in its current state and then gradually improved, upgraded, or restored further over time. While the car might not yet be in a condition where it could compete in shows or be described as fully restored, it does present itself as complete with a full body intact, and even comes with a large and useful collection of additional spare parts. Those extra items include complete extra doors, additional fenders, an entire motor, as well as several boxes filled with various components, making it an ideal purchase for someone who wants the flexibility either to restore the Falcon back to a factory-correct, original condition, or simply to keep it running reliably as a fun weekend cruiser. Whether the next buyer happens to be a seasoned restorer with years of experience working on older cars, or simply a hobbyist just beginning to step into the world of classic cars, this Falcon offers a solid and dependable foundation to build upon. Thanks to its straightforward mechanical engineering and timelessly simple styling, it is exactly the kind of approachable vintage car that can still turn heads at local car meets, while remaining practical, affordable, and not overly complex to own and maintain. In short, this Falcon represents a budget-friendly gateway into vintage car ownership that offers the right balance of authentic patina, potential for future work, and everyday practicality. Number 2, for anyone who doesn't mind rolling up their sleeves, getting their hands dirty, and embracing the unapologetic, unmistakable style of 1970s American cars, this 1976 Cadillac Eldorado convertible might very well be the kind of project you've been hoping to find. Being offered at the price of just $3,800 and located in Rochester, New York. This convertible Cadillac embodies the soul and personality of the disco-era automobile, a massive drop-top cruiser that proudly carries a gigantic 500 cubic inch V8 engine under its hood and finished in a bold, striking, purple-on-purple color scheme that is about as iconic as it gets for a car from this time period. With only 56,000 miles currently showing on its odometer, it qualifies as a low-mileage car for its age, and while it's clearly seen better days in terms of condition, the vehicle still holds onto a significant amount of potential. The seller notes that the car does start up right away, which already puts it ahead of many other project cars that are left sitting completely inoperable. Even more reassuring, the floor has already been redone, which means that it is not plagued by the kind of deep, structural rust issues that can doom other convertibles of the same era. That being said, this is not a car that you can simply buy and drive without further effort. The list of items needing attention includes both cosmetic and mechanical issues. The driver's door has a dent, the paint has faded considerably, the braking system including rotors needs work, the suspension requires attention, and the front tires will need replacement. Mechanically, the timing requires a proper tune-up, and while the convertible top is present, it currently needs to be operated manually instead of automatically. Additionally, the gas gauge is not functioning, and the hood hinge is in need of replacement. Despite those issues, the fundamentals are all present. The car even comes with a set of 22-inch wheels and a CD player, though it does not currently have a complete audio system installed. Having been parked for a few years, it will need to be towed to its next home, but once revived, it has the potential to look very similar to the stunning example shown in the final photo of the listing. This Eldorado represents exactly the kind of vehicle that, with proper vision, investment, and time, can be transformed into a powerful statement piece, a massive, luxurious American convertible that can cruise the boulevard in unmistakable style. For anyone who has an appreciation for full-size American convertibles, bold 1970s styling, and the satisfaction that comes with bringing a project back to life, this Cadillac Eldorado offers an incredible amount of car for the asking price. Number 3. There are very few vehicles that capture the unique look, feel, and character of late 1970s American automotive design quite as effectively as this 1978 Chevrolet Caprice Classic Landau Coupe. This particular car, now being offered for sale at $7,500 and located in Pontiac City, Oklahoma, is a prime example of a big-body General Motors personal luxury coupe from the era. Showing only 50,000 original miles on its odometer and having been in the care of only 2 owners since new, this Caprice Classic has aged gracefully and continues to stand as a genuine testament to its time in both styling and performance. This example wears a custom orange paint finish, which immediately sets it apart from typical survivors and gives the car a unique, flashy, custom cruiser appearance. Under the hood, it is powered by a dependable and proven 350 cubic inch V8 engine, which is paired to a TH350 automatic transmission, a classic GM drivetrain combination known for smoothness, reliability, and long service life. While the seller does not provide detailed descriptions regarding the car's interior or every aspect of its mechanical systems, it is clear from the listing that this vehicle has been lightly customized while still maintaining much of its original identity and presence. The Landau top and the attractive 2-door hardtop styling further enhance its appearance, making it a perfect candidate either for showing at local car meets, enjoying as a weekend cruiser, or using as a platform for a tasteful resto-mod build. For enthusiasts of late 70s GM design, this Caprice Classic represents a car that offers both style and practicality. With its very low mileage, unique paint job, strong engine and transmission combination, and the inherent comfort that comes with a full-size GM platform, it stands as a classic cruiser that provides class, presence, and usability, all while remaining relatively affordable when compared to many other vintage cars of its era. Number 4. Here is a genuine piece of Mopar history that comes with surprisingly affordable price tag, a 1966 Dodge Coronet 440, currently being offered for $5,000 and located in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. This particular car is powered by a 318 cubic inch LA Series V8 engine paired with an automatic transmission, giving it a straightforward and reliable mechanical foundation that is easy to understand and maintain. It is the kind of setup that works well for newcomers to Mopar ownership, while still being enjoyable for experienced enthusiasts. According to the seller, the vehicle is mechanically sound and has even recently passed a state inspection in Missouri. Several important items have already been taken care of, including the installation of a brand new starter, a brand new windshield, and a new fuel tank. These updates make the car far more attractive to anyone concerned about immediate repair needs. However, it should be noted that this is still very much a project car. The body shows some age-related flaws, including rust bubbles and cosmetic imperfections, especially at the rear of the vehicle where there has been some prior damage. That damage was pulled back just enough to keep the car on the road, but it does leave visible evidence. Even so, the Dodge Coronet is complete, functional, and comes with a clean title. Factors that are not always easy to find in a 1960s Mopar price below the $6,000 mark. This vehicle provides a solid starting point for a variety of potential paths. It can be restored to originality, kept as a driver with honest patina, or built into a custom project. With its classic mid-60s long, lean body lines and sound mechanical foundation, this Coronet presents an affordable and practical way for someone to get involved with the Mopar hobby without spending excessively. Number 5. For anyone seeking the unmistakable look, size, and presence of a full-size American luxury car without spending a huge amount of money, this 1977 Cadillac Coupe DeVille stands out as a promising option. The car is being offered for $5,500 and is currently located in Sedalia, Missouri. It combines the comfort, power, and nostalgic appeal of a late 1970s Cadillac in one package that is hard to match for the asking price. Beneath the hood is a strong 425 cubic inch V8 engine that is paired with a dependable turbo 400 automatic transmission, a classic Cadillac drivetrain combination known for smooth performance and effortless highway cruising. The odometer shows 113,000 miles, which indicates regular use, but also suggests that the car still has plenty of life left. Inside, it is equipped with full power accessories and factory-installed climate control, though the air conditioning is currently not in working order. The interior continues to reflect the plush, spacious, and comfortable design that Cadillac was famous for during the 1970s. Cosmetically, The car shows visible signs of age. The exterior paint has faded, rust can be found beneath the vinyl roof, and there are a few dents on the body. Despite these imperfections, the Coupe de Ville does run and drive properly. It was recently pulled out of long-term storage, making it a strong candidate for a rolling restoration, a car that can be enjoyed right away while gradually being improved. For someone who simply wants to experience the floaty and relaxed driving style of a classic Cadillac, this car can even serve as a unique daily driver that stands apart from the modern vehicles on the road. The seller is open to trades, which further increases the accessibility of this opportunity. Overall, this Coupe de Ville represents an affordable gateway into American luxury classics, offering comfort, history, and character at a very reasonable cost. Number 6. For anyone out there who loves the quirky, practical, and yet undeniably stylish world of classic Chevrolet utility coupes, here's a piece of old iron that just might be calling your name. What's sitting on offer here is a 1978 Chevrolet El Camino, and it's waiting for its next caretaker in Newton, New Jersey. The seller has put it up at what can only be called a budget-friendly entry price, just $800 if you want to take it as is, or if you got a little extra to spend and you like the idea of bonus parts being included, then $1,300 gets you both the car and a nice stash of extras to help you down the road. Now, to set expectations from the very beginning, this is not a running, driving, turnkey vehicle that you can hop into and cruise home. Far from it. The El Camino is very much a project car in the truest and rawest sense of the word. It currently does not run. It has been off the road for a considerable amount of time, and to make things even trickier, it comes without a title. For many enthusiasts, that right there is a deal breaker. But if you're living in a state that doesn't require titles for older vehicles, or if you've got the right connections and patience to sort through paperwork, or perhaps if you're just looking for a rolling part supply to keep another El Camino alive, then the lack of paperwork won't bother you nearly as much. Pop open the hood, and you'll find a small block Chevrolet V8 sitting between the fenders, paired to a TH350 automatic transmission. On paper, that's a classic, time-tested, reliable powertrain combination, the kind that powered countless Chevy cars and trucks throughout the 70s and 80s. But again, let's be clear, this particular motor and transmission are not currently in operating condition. It hasn't been fired up in who knows how long, and it won't move under its own power until some serious wrenching is done. So if you're considering it, you need to be prepared to show up with a trailer, a winch, and probably a couple of buddies to help load it onto whatever you're hauling it home with. The good news, however, is that this isn't just some stripped-out husk of a vehicle that's been left to rot. The seller has already gone out of their way to gather up a selection of brand new parts with the intention of giving the car a second chance. Included in the deal are fresh shock absorbers, new coil springs, brand new brake lines and fuel lines, a radiator that's still brand new in the box, and even a new radiator support. Those kind of parts don't come cheap, and the fact that they're included means you're getting more than just the bare bones here. You're getting a starter kit for the resurrection. And if you opt for the $1,300 deal, the seller will throw in a pair of Mickey Thompson valve covers, a neat period correct accessory that could give the engine bay some real personality once the car is back together. Of course, there are some big caveats. The floors are badly rusted, not just a spot here or there, but rusted through to the point that real fabrication work will be necessary. This is not a car you patch with some sheet metal and a little bit of seam sealer. This is a car where you'll need to break out the welder, cut sections out, fabricate panels, and commit to a significant amount of dirty, hands-on labor. If that kind of work scares you, then this isn't the right project. But if you're the kind of builder who loves welding sparks flying in the garage, who doesn't mind a grinder in your hand, and who feels proud when you step back and see a floor you saved with your own two hands, then this car could be worth it. What's the vision here? Well, for the right buyer, this El Camino could go a lot of different directions. It could be the bones of a cool street machine, maybe with that small block rebuilt and a loud exhaust under it. It could become a rough and ready rat rod with a slammed stance and rusty patina that gets more attention than polished show cars. Or it could simply serve as a donor vehicle, with its parts going on to keep a cleaner El Camino alive and well. However you see it, the price of entry is low, and for someone with creativity and determination, the potential is high. The bottom line, this 1978 El Camino is not for the faint of heart, but for a true hands-on enthusiast who's not afraid of challenges. It could be a satisfying project that turns into something cool. Just make sure you bring a trailer, some muscle, and a clear vision of what you want it to be. Number 7. For the dedicated Chevy crowd, the ones who love the long hood, sweeping line American coupes of the early 1970s. Here's a car that has opportunity written all over it. What we're talking about is a 1971 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, located down in Fort Worth, Texas, with an asking price of $7,000. This isn't just some forgotten relic. It's a running, drivable machine that's begging to be turned into something great, whether that a period-correct restoration or modernized pro touring build. The odometer shows 114,821 miles, and while that's a decent amount of use, the key detail here is that the car actually runs. That can't be overstated. With so many project cars sitting dead in fields, barns, or driveways, the difference between something that moves under its own power and something that doesn't is enormous. A running car gives you immediate confidence. You can hear it idle, you can test the transmission, and you can start working on improvements rather than just trying to figure out how to make it move. Of course, like just about every half-century-old GM coupe, the Monte Carlo isn't perfect. The body carries its share of rust, which is completely expected for a car built in this era. But the seller makes it clear that it's not a basket case. The rust isn't terminal. And for someone who's handy with bodywork or who's willing to send it to a good shop, it can be taken care of. The seller doesn't go deep into specifics about the drivetrain. We don't know for sure which V8 is under the hood, what work has or hasn't been done to over the years, or how original it all is. The interior details are also left a little vague. But what matters here is that this isn't just a shell. It's a complete, running car with a lot of its bones intact. And let's not forget the appeal of the model itself. The 1971 Monte Carlo was only the second year of Chevy's personal luxury coupe, and it really cemented the car's reputation. These things had that trademark Monte Carlo look. The extra-long hood that seems to stretch out forever, the crisp body lines, the fastback-inspired roofline, and the right amount of chrome trim to let everyone know this was a car built to balance style, comfort, and power. Even sitting in unrestored condition, a Monte Carlo from this era can still turn heads. For builders, the possibilities are endless. If you're into the pro touring scene, you've got a huge engine bay ready for a modern LS swap, a chassis that can accept aftermarket suspension upgrades, and enough interior space to make it comfortable for long-distance cruises. If you're a purist, you can restore it to showroom stock, complete with period-correct wheels, trim, and paint. Either way, the Monte Carlo offers a platform that's flexible and rewarding. Another perk is the seller's openness to trades. That's a big deal because it widens the opportunity for buyers who might not have $7,000 in cash lying around but do have another classic car project, a motorcycle, or something of comparable value to offer in exchange. At the end of the day, what you've got here is a 1971 Monte Carlo that's not a rotting hulk, not a strip shell, but a complete running car with a ton of potential. It's waiting for someone with vision to decide whether it'll become a boulevard cruiser, a show car, or a modern performance build. Number 8. Now let's shift gears into something that blends nostalgia with comfort. What's up for grabs here is a 1984 Oldsmobile Regency, sitting pretty in Brandon, Mississippi. The asking price? Just $6,000. That's not bad at all for a car that's been in the same family since day one. Yes, this is a true one-owner classic, and showing only 73,000 original miles on the odometer. In today's collector market, finding a survivor like this with that kind of history is a real gem. There's a bit of confusion in the listing itself, since the ad apparently calls it a Buick. But make no mistake, this is an Oldsmobile Regency, one of the premium offerings in GM's lineup back in the mid-1980s. These were cars that delivered the classic American luxury experience of the time. Big bodies, plush interiors, smooth rides, and plenty of chrome. What really stands out here is the care it's received over the years. The seller notes that a number of important maintenance items have already been addressed, which means you're not buying into a laundry list of repairs. The car has new shocks, new spark plugs and wires, new valve cover and manifold gaskets, and even refreshed vacuum hoses. That's the kind of work that can really add up if you're tackling it yourself. And the fact that it's already been done means this Olds is essentially ready to go. The seller even describes it as highway ready, which paint a picture of this big sedan effortlessly gliding down the interstate, delivering that floaty, cloud-like ride that only 1980s GM luxury cars could offer. Cosmetically, the exterior wears a brown finish that plays perfectly into its vintage character. While photos weren't included in the description, it said be in well-maintained condition inside and out, suggesting the original owner took pride in keeping it presentable. And if you've ever sat in one of these, you know the interiors were designed for comfort above all else. Wide seats, soft upholstery, and a dash layout that screams old-school charm. From a collective perspective, this car represents an opportunity to snag something that's still underappreciated in the market. Oldsmobiles of this era aren't commanding huge prices like Camaros, Chevelles, or Mustangs, but they offer a slice of history that's every bit as real. For someone who wants to cruise around in something different, something that stands out against today's generic crossovers, this Regency makes a strong case. And for someone who just wants a unique daily driver, this car checks the boxes: affordable, reliable, comfortable, and dripping with character. Number 9. If affordable muscle is what you've been after, here's one that delivers just that, with plenty of visual punch to go with it. Sitting in Tyler, Texas, is a 1979 Chevrolet Monte Carlo finished in a tough-looking black-on-black scheme. The asking price comes in at $6,500. Mileage shows at 89,000, which is fairly modest for a car that's closing in on 50 years old. Under the hood, you'll find a 350 cubic inch V8 engine, one of Chevy's tried and true small blocks. Better yet, the transmission has been rebuilt, which means you can cross that big expense off the list. The seller notes that the car does indeed run and drive. That's huge for buyers, because it means this isn't just a garage ornament or feel fine. It's something you can start up, move around, and actually enjoy even before diving into the restoration process. Now, the listing doesn't go into heavy detail about the exact condition of the body or the interior. But here's the thing. Monte Carlos from this era don't need to be perfect to look good. The square body lines, the long coupe profile, and especially that murdered-out black paint and interior give it a presence that works even if the car is a little rough around the edges. It's one of those machines that looks mean just sitting still. The ownership history is reassuring too, with only 2 previous owners and a clean title. You're looking at a car that hasn't been passed around a dozen times. That usually means fewer headaches and a clearer idea of what you're getting. From a potential standpoint, late 70s Monte Carlos are starting to gain more attention among collectors and younger builders. They've got that boxy style that's in demand right now. They're relatively affordable, and they lend themselves to customization. You could take this one and build it into a budget drag car with some engine upgrades, turn it into a lowrider with hydraulics and wire wheels, or simply use it as a weekend cruiser with attitude. At the end of the day, for $6,500, you're buying into a running, driving V8 Chevy Coupe with cool looks and lots of possibilities. That's hard to beat. Number 10. For those who love something unique and full of character, here's a classic Buick that you won't see every day. What's being offered is a 1978 Buick Riviera Anniversary Edition, located in Harrison, New York, with an asking price of $5,500. This particular Riviera has an interesting backstory. It spent more than 30 years tucked away in a garage out in Iowa, hidden from a road, quietly waiting for someone to bring it back to life. Recently, that's exactly what happened. The seller pulled out of storage, revived it, and now it's back on the road again. A rare opportunity to own a special edition Riviera with survivor car vibes. Mechanically, the seller has invested a fair bit of effort to make it reliable once more. They performed a full engine tune-up, rebuilt the carburetor, replaced the brake master cylinder and booster, and even rebuilt the rear calipers. Thanks to that work, the car now runs, shifts, and stops just as it should. Considering how long it sat idle, that's a pretty remarkable turnaround. Cosmetically, it's what enthusiasts like to call a 10-footer. From 10 feet away, it looks sharp. The lines are straight, the chrome shines, and the car presents well. But get up close, and you'll notice some flaws. The black paint on hood and trunk could really use a good buffing, and while the vinyl roof is still intact, it's showing its age and will eventually need replacement. The good news is that the body is straight, with no major dents, and the car was rust-proof when new. which has helped preserve it. There's a bit of bubbling behind the passenger side door, but nothing catastrophic. Step inside and the story is much the same. The interior is complete and in decent shape. The seats don't have any tears, which is a huge plus, though the carpet could use a deep cleaning to really freshen things up. The dash has a small half-inch crack, and the door panels show somewhere around the armrests. A couple of power features aren't fully functional. The passenger power seat and the power antenna both have motors that hum but don't move, meaning they'll need some tinkering to get right. Out back, there's currently no exhaust from the catalytic converter rearward, so the car is louder than it should be. The seller is asking $5,500 as it sits, though they do mention that depending on what extra parts are included, the total could climb closer to $7,500. They also note that they only want to be contacted via email and won't respond casual messages. Overall, what you got here is a rare edition of Buick's Riviera, freshly revived after decades of storage. It's drivable, it's got a strong story, and it's priced fairly for someone who wants to get into classic car ownership without spending a fortune. With a little elbow grease and some attention to detail, this anniversary edition Riviera could become a head-turning cruiser once again. Number 11. If you've been keeping an eye out for a classic pickup that won't drain your wallet, but still has plenty of promise, this 1978 Ford F-150 regular cab long bed is worth a serious look. Priced at just $2,250 and sitting in Smithfield, Virginia, this old Ford might not look like much at first glance, but it's exactly the kind of diamond in the rough that project truck enthusiasts love to find. These late 70s Fords have become increasingly popular because they represent one of the last generations before trucks started getting overloaded with electronics and luxury features. What you're looking at here is a straightforward, honest-to-goodness workhorse, and it still carries a lot of its original charm. Specifically, this one is a 1978 Ford F-150 Ranger, the trim level that gave you a bit of extra flair compared to the base models. It's configured as a two-wheel drive long bed, ideal if you want maximum hauling space, or if you're considering a future Restomod build that demands straight body lines and a strong, wide platform. Some buyers might keep it true to factory style, restoring it right down to the original hubcaps and trim, while others might see it as the perfect base for a modernized build with updated suspension, wheels, and performance upgrades. Either way, this truck gives you options. Pop the hood and you'll find the ever-faithful 302 cubic inch V8, Ford small block that powered everything from Mustangs to family sedans during this era. It's a simple, versatile, and highly respected motor that has a nearly endless supply of parts and aftermarket support. On top of that, this particular truck already benefits from a brand new carburetor, saving you one of the first headaches many classic buyers usually face. Power is sent through an automatic transmission, which makes it an easy, comfortable driver once it's road ready. Now, as it sits, the truck does run, but there's a catch. It's currently pulling fuel from a temporary gas can, which tells you that the original fuel tank hasn't been checked yet. That's not uncommon with old projects that have been sitting for a while. Gas tanks can get rusty inside or clogged with old fuel varnish, so chances are you'll need to drop the tank, inspect it, and either clean or replace it before you trust it for everyday use. Still, that's a pretty routine job for any classic truck project. One detail that adds a lot of appeal: this F-150 comes with factory-installed air conditioning, and according to the seller, it's believed to still be in working order. That's a big deal because not every late 70s pickup rolled off the line with AC, and if it works, it'll make cruising in summer much more enjoyable. Structurally, the body is said to be solid, and the frame is in good condition. Two of the most important things you want to hear when looking at a classic truck, since rust or frame damage can kill a project before it even starts. That said, let's be clear, this is a project. The brakes, the fuel system, and most of the core mechanical components are going to need inspection, attention, and likely a fair amount of replacement before you can truly call it roadworthy. But that's part of the fun for a lot of classic truck enthusiasts. Starting with a clean slate, a solid frame, and a running motor, then slowly bringing everything else back to life. With a clean title in hand, this old Ranger represents a very promising starting point. Whether you see it as a dependable farm truck waiting for revival, a laid-back cruiser to enjoy on weekends, or the foundation of a dream build with modern upgrades, this long bed F 150 checks a lot of boxes for anyone who wants a vintage pickup at an approachable price. Number 12. Step into the world of full-size American luxury, exactly as it was intended in the late 1970s, with this gorgeous 1978 Cadillac sedan DeVille, offered at $8,500 and located in Marianna, Florida. This big Cadillac embodies everything that made the brand synonymous with elegance, prestige, and road presence. It carries itself with a kind of confidence you just don't see in modern cars, and it manages to look classy without being overly flashy. The exterior is finished in a crisp white paint, which pairs beautifully with a blue interior. The combination makes a statement of understated luxury. You won't mistake it for anything other than a Cadillac, yet avoids the too loud look of brighter color schemes. With just under 94,000 miles, this car has clearly been driven but not abused. That mileage suggests it's been enjoyed regularly enough to keep it alive and healthy, but not so much that it feels worn out. Under that massive hood is a 425 cubic inch V8, the kind of engine that made these big cruisers glide down the highway with almost no effort. It's paired with GM's legendary TH400 automatic transmission, one of the most durable and smooth-shifting gearboxes of its time. This setup was made for long-distance comfort, and according to the seller, this Cadillac recently proved its worth by completing a long-haul trip from North Carolina to Florida. That says a lot about the car's condition. It's not just a showpiece. It's a genuinely roadworthy driver. As for comfort, which is the very heart of Cadillac ownership, the sedan DeVille delivers. The air conditioning still works, keeping the big cabin cool, although the compressor does emit a bit of a squeal. That's a relatively minor issue. Easy to fix if you want whisper-quiet operation, but nice to know that the system functions as is. The power windows and power door locks all work as they should, preserving the luxury feel. Inside, the cabin remains largely original, and the seller has even gone so far as to install a new headliner, which freshens up the interior's appearance without losing its authenticity. One notable detail that sets this Cadillac apart: it does not have a vinyl top. Many sedan DeVilles of this era came with padded vinyl roofs, which looked good when new, but often became problem spots for rust underneath. By skipping the vinyl, this particular DeVille avoids those headaches, while also presenting a cleaner, more modern look that appeals to many buyers today. Cosmetically, the car holds its own. The paint is still original and shines with pride, and the seller hasn't reported any significant mechanical concerns. That makes this a very attractive option for someone who wants to buy a classic and immediately enjoy it. No full restoration required. At its heart, this Cadillac represents everything people love about the brand. Unmatched highway comfort, unmistakable styling, and the feeling that you're piloting a piece of American luxury history. Whether you want to collect it, show it off at local car meets, or simply cruise in comfort, this 1978 sedan DeVille offers it all with a clean title and plenty of confidence. Number 13. For anyone who loves tough old-school pickups, this 1983 Ford F-154 by 4 has the right ingredients. Located in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and priced at $5,800, is an excellent example of the rugged 7th-generation F-Series trucks. These early ADS models still carried the boxy, square body styling people love, but they came with just enough modern updates to make them practical, reliable daily drivers. This one is finished in black paint with a red interior, a combination that really pops. The exterior looks muscular and no-nonsense, while the bold red cabin gives it personality. Together, they deliver a classic 80s vibe that turns heads without trying too hard. Under the hood is the mighty 351 Cleveland V8, a motor that Ford enthusiasts hold in high regard. Known for its torque, durability, and performance potential, it's a strong match for a truck like this. It's paired with an automatic transmission, making it an easy driver, even in stop-and-go traffic. The truck shows 131,000 miles, which for a 1980s pickup is quite reasonable and suggests it's still got plenty of life left. One of its biggest selling points is that it's a four-wheel drive truck. Having 4x4 makes it far more versatile, whether you need it for work around property, exploring trails, or just getting through Pennsylvania winters. That feature alone adds a lot of practical value and appeal. The seller doesn't mention recent upgrades or repairs. So as with any classic truck, it would be smart to inspect the mechanicals, brakes, suspension, and drivetrain before hitting the road. Still, what you're buying here is a combination of a desirable V8, 4x4 capability, and timeless styling. This is a kind of truck that works just as well as a dependable driver as it does a restoration candidate, giving you plenty of room to make it your own. Number 14. Now here's something you don't stumble across very often. A 1986 Pontiac Parisienne in running condition, still wearing much of its originality. Priced at $4,900 and located in Smithsburg, Maryland, this full-size sedan represents Pontiac's take on big American comfort during the boxy 1980s. With 118,730 miles on the clock, it's been used enough to prove its durability, but it's far from worn out. Under the hood, it's equipped with traditional V8 paired with an automatic transmission, keeping with the smooth, easy-driving formula of the era. This isn't a car built for speed. It's built for cruising comfortably, soaking up the miles with minimal effort. The seller notes the car runs well, which is the first and most important box to check when looking at something like this. There is some damage to the trunk on the rear left side, probably the result of a minor accident or parking mishap, but it doesn't stop the car from being roadworthy. The rest of the car appears to wear its age honestly, with a gray exterior and plush red interior, a classic 1980s combination that screams period-correct luxury, with tags and a title included. It's very likely already registered and road-ready, depending on inspection rules in your state. At under $5,000, it's also an affordable entry point into the world of classic American sedans. You could leave it just the way it is and enjoy it as a quirky daily driver, put in the effort to restore it, or even take it in a totally different direction, like building it into a lowrider or custom cruiser. That versatility makes it an interesting option. Overall, this Parisienne blends nostalgia, size, and comfort in a way only 1980s American cars can. If you want something different that stands out in a parking lot full of modern crossovers, this Pontiac delivers. Number 15. If you're more interested in reliability, simplicity, and mechanical honesty than luxury or flash, this 1985 Ford F-150 long bed deserves your attention. Listed at $5,500 and located in Weatherford, Texas, this truck embodies the qualities that made the F-Series the best-selling line of pickups in America: durability, usability, and straightforward design. The heart of this truck is Ford's legendary 4.9L inline-six engine. Known for its torque and near-bulletproof reliability, this straight-six is a favorite among people who value trucks that just keep on running. Paired with manual transmission, it gives you full control and a more connected driving experience, something enthusiasts especially appreciate in today's world of automatics. With 128,000 miles, it's been driven but not overworked. Better yet, the seller has put in real effort to refresh and maintain the truck mechanically. It's been treated to new vacuum lines, a fresh starter, a new carburetor, distributor, spark plugs, and even new tires. That's a solid list of updates that goes a long way toward making sure the truck is dependable right now. It's running off a temporary 2-gallon fuel tank, but the sale includes a brand new fuel tank and sending unit ready for installation. That means you can finish the fuel system with minimal hassle, and once it's done, you'll have a much more reliable daily driver. Cosmetically, the listing doesn't get a lot of detail, but sometimes with old pickups, the looks are less important than the bones. What matters is that the drivetrain is strong, the frame is solid, and the truck is mechanically sound, all of which this one seems to deliver. This isn't a flashy pickup. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is: a dependable, old-school Ford built to work. Whether you want it for farm duties, as a weekend project, or just as a trustworthy rig that won't let you down, this 1985 F-150 long bed is a clean, straightforward choice with a lot of life left in it. Number 16. If you've been dreaming about finding an old-school Ford pickup that already has the right bones, runs, drives, and has that classic lifted look that makes you feel like king of the back roads, this 1985 Ford F-150 short bed out of Charlottesville, Virginia, priced at just $3,000, is worth a serious look because it checks so many boxes for someone who wants a project that doesn't start from zero. This isn't a rotted shell or a basket case you have to push onto a trailer with 3 guys and a prayer. This one actually runs. It moves under its own power, and has upgrades that give presence you just don't get with bone stock survivors. The heart of this F F-150 is Ford's legendary 300 cubic inch inline-six, an engine that's earned its reputation as one of the toughest and most reliable truck motors ever built. Mechanics, farmers, old-timers, they'll all tell you stories about these engines running for 300,000 miles, hauling loads every day, pulling stumps out of fields, and just refusing to quit. They aren't flashy and they aren't about horsepower bragging rights, but they make torque all day long, and torque is what you actually use in a truck. Pair that up with a 5-speed manual transmission and a proper 4-wheel drive system, and you're looking at a truck that was built to be useful, simple, and reliable, the kind of rig you can fix in your driveway with basic tools and a weekend of patience. Now, the seller does mention it needs a throwout bearing, and sure, that means pulling transmission, but on an old Ford pickup, that's a job any mechanically minded owner can handle without breaking the bank. And until you fix it, the truck can still be driven onto a trailer and even around locally with care, so you're not stuck with dead hulk. What really sets this truck apart, though, is its stance. Thanks to a 6-inch lift kit and a set of 33 by 12.50 tires, this isn't just some tired old work truck. It looks like it's ready to climb over rocks, hit a muddy trail, or just sit high above traffic on your daily commute. And because it's a short bed, not the longer workhorse version, it has a sportier, more desirable profile that enthusiasts prefer, easier to maneuver in tight spaces, and just plain better looking to most eyes. While the seller doesn't say much about the rust situation or the condition of the body panels, trucks of this era are famously straightforward to repair with cheap parts, endless aftermarket support, and a community of Ford fans who will gladly point you in the right direction for fixes. Whether you want to build into a trail rig, a fun weekend cruiser, or a daily driver with some old school attitude, this F-150 is the kind of honest, running, driving project that's getting harder to find at this price. $3,000 for a lifted manual 4-wheel drive short bed with a 306 is a deal you don't see every day. Number 17. For anyone who loves the idea of early Mustangs, and especially the thought of putting together a serious V8 project without having to source every single part from scratch, here's something that deserves a close look. A 1965 Ford Mustang Coupe, located in Ronkonkoma, New York, listed for just $3,000. This car is rough, no question about it. But the magic here isn't pristine paint or original trim. It's in the parts and the potential packed into this deal. Let's start with the drivetrain, because that's where the real value is. Under the hood sits a strong-running 289 cubic inch V8, which is basically the bread and butter small block that made the early Mustangs into the legends they are. And this isn't some stock 2-barrel grocery getter motor either. This one comes with long tube headers for better breathing, an aluminum intake manifold, a Holly car for classic performance tuning, and even a new aluminum radiator to keep temps in check. That combo is backed up by a freshly rebuilt C4 automatic transmission, meaning you're not going to have to worry about finding trans, rebuilding it, or wondering if it'll hold together. On top of that, the seller already upgraded the car to a 5-lug front spindle and brake setup, and out back you've got a matching 5-lug 8-inch rear end. That's huge if you know your early Mustangs, because the original 6-cylinder cars never came with that hardware, and it's one of the first upgrades people do when they swap to V8 power. Here it's already done, but it doesn't stop there. The deal also comes with clean front fenders, a solid grille and headlight buckets, a new fuel tank, clean bumpers, and even a full new wiring harness that's already been installed. That last one alone saves hours of frustrating work. Inside, there's some decent interior pieces included, and on the outside, the car sits on sharp 17-inch torque thrust wheels that give it an instant hot rod stance, even in its current rough condition. Now for the reality check, this Mustang has no hood, no seats, and most importantly, no title. The seller is upfront about that, and makes it clear they don't plan on getting one. That makes it unsuitable for someone who wants to build a nice street car, but it does open the door to some other possibilities. Maybe you want a no-paperwork track car, something to take to drag strip nights or autocross events without worrying about registration. Maybe you want a drift build, a dedicated toy where paperwork doesn't matter. Or maybe you're simply looking for a solid V8 donor package for another project car, a Falcon, a Fairlane, even another Mustang shell with a title. The seller does warn that if it doesn't sell soon, they're planning to part out, which honestly makes sense given the value of the engine, trans, wheels, and other components. So if you've been hunting for an affordable way into the early Mustang world, this is one of those bring cash, bring a trailer, bring your imagination kind of deals. Number 18. Every once in a while you come across a car that makes you stop, not because it's perfect, but because it represents a weird little corner of automotive history. And this 1982 Ford LTD Crown Victoria in Cortland, New York is one of those cars. Priced at just $1,250. It's a survivor from the very last year that the Crown Victoria name was just a trim level on the LTD before Ford made its own separate model in 1983. And it's also the final year the 255 cubic inch carbureted V8 was offered. That combination makes a quirky piece of Ford history that most people would walk past, but the right kind of enthusiast will see the charm. According to the seller, the car still runs, but the engine recently developed a hard knock, which probably means it suffered a major internal failure. It's a shame, because the owner had already put in quite a bit of work. The car had always had a bit of a tick and some blow-by, but it was running well after receiving a lot of new parts before the knock set in. Those new parts include a brand new carburetor, all new shocks, a new water pump, a new fuel pump, fresh belts and hoses, and last year got complete brake overhaul with a new master cylinder, calipers, pads, and lines. Even the tires are fairly new. So mechanically, aside from the engine itself, this car has already had a ton of love. Cosmetically, it's a mixed bag. The front grille is broken from hitting an animal at some point, and the driver's side window has been replaced with a sheet of plastic. Beyond that, though, it's surprisingly intact for a car that's now over 40 years old. The big, boxy body panels look straight. The trim is still in place, and it doesn't appear to be a rust bucket. The main question is what to do about the engine. The original 255 is basically orphaned. Parts are nearly impossible to find, and most people consider them underpowered anyway. The smart move here would be to swap in a more common Ford small block like a 302 or even a 351, both of which would fit right in and completely change the character of the car, with all the other new parts already in place. It wouldn't take much to get this thing back on the road as a reliable cruiser or an oddball weekend show car. The seller clearly has affection for the car. You can tell by the parts they've invested in, but they admit they're juggling too many other projects, and this one just can't stay. For someone who likes quirky survivors, or someone who wants a cheap entry point into the world of classic full-size Fords, this LTD Crown Vic is a pretty neat opportunity. Number 19. Here's an old-school pickup that'll get the attention of anyone who loves classic Ford trucks, a 1968 Ford F-100 listed at $6,000, and located in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Trucks from this era are getting harder and harder to find in any kind of usable condition. And this one not only runs and drives under its own power, but also packs one of Ford's most iconic big blocks under the hood. That's right, this F-100 is powered by a 390 cubic inch V8. The kind of motor that gives you instant credibility when you pop the hood at a Cars and Coffee, or just blip the throttle in a parking lot. And it's not a bone stock setup either. The seller says it's been given a new carburetor, a set of 3-inch headers, and a full 3-inch exhaust system, which means it probably sounds fantastic with that deep, throaty big block rumble. On top of that, this truck came optioned with air conditioning, which wasn't standard in 1968, and makes it a more valuable and usable classic from modern times. Inside, the seller mentions that they're including a brand new roll of carpet, suggesting that interior refresh plans were already in the works. Even little touches like that can transform how a classic truck feels inside. Rust-wise, the report is encouraging. The cab corners and the bed sides, two of the most common trouble spots on these Fords, are said to be solid. That's a big deal because bodywork in those areas can be costly and time-consuming. It also comes with a set of 20-inch rims, though the seller notes they aren't pictured, so we can assume they're aftermarket wheels intended to give the truck a more modern stance. Price is set at $6,000 or best offer, and the seller is open to trades, though he makes it clear he's not looking for junk. So don't come at it with broken down lawn mowers or rusty four-wheelers. He also points out that he has more photos available, but the platform only lets him post 10. Put all that together, and what you've got here is a running, big block powered, air-conditioned 68F 100 with solid bodywork, and that makes it a rare find in today's market. Number 20. And finally, for all the Chevy square body fans out there, Here's a project that gives you a whole lot of potential for very little money. Sitting in Texarkana, Texas, this 1976 Chevrolet Scottsdale 2500 long bed is listed for just $1,000. At that price, you're not getting a complete truck with a running motor, but what you are getting is a solid roll with a clean title, a sound frame, good tires, and all the bones you need to start building the square body you've been dreaming of. This is a heavy-duty 3/4-ton model, which means it was built from the factory to handle more work than the standard half-ton. That makes it a prime candidate for just about any powertrain swap you can imagine. Want to drop in a small block for a reliable cruiser? Easy. Want a big block for towing and burnouts? No problem. Want to get crazy and go diesel? The frame and suspension are already up to the task. The seller says the body is solid for its age, which is important because mid-70s GM trucks are notorious for rust issues, especially around the cab corners, floor pans, and lower fenders. The interior and exterior are said to be complete and intact, though worn, which honestly is a blessing on a project like this because it means you're not hunting down missing trim pieces or dashboard parts. The clean title is one of the biggest selling points here. At this price, it's common to find rollers with no paperwork, which would make them a nightmare to ever get registered again. Here, you're buying something you can actually build, finish, and drive on the road legally when you're done. Square-bodied Chevys have been skyrocketing in popularity, and even rough rollers are getting harder to find, especially ones that aren't rotted out and still come with a title. At just $1,000, this Scottsdale gives you an affordable way to jump into the hobby. Whether your dream is a Slam C20 cruiser scraping pavement at car shows, a lifted off-road bruiser on 37s, or a resto-mod workhorse that can still haul lumber during the week, this truck is a blank canvas. Roll it onto your trailer, drag it home, and start making it your own.